The main problem is that he does the right thing, okay? And the fringe really, really likes him, okay? And the guys back home who have been poo-pooing the whole notion of the Rish and everything else cannot afford for him to prove that they had their heads in certain places. So what happens eventually is he's demonized. That doesn't happen in this book. It happens later. And this is, I think, has been touched on in the existing novels. But in essence, the Heart World propaganda machine goes into overdrive to paint him as a warlord, trying to overthrow the Republic, etc. And they try to shut him up and they try to crush him. And it's a mistake. Here is Murphy having to deal with the folks back home who think he's a lunatic. And here are the Rish who are seeing the Republic headed for civil war, which is great from their perspective, because as soon as the Republic goes into a civil war, they zap the League in the back. And it's kind of like the U.S. deciding to invade England the day before D-Day. Okay, I mean, the League is totally not expecting it, and here comes the guys who have been supplying their equipment and everything. So the League goes down pretty fast. But then the Rish find out that, beating humans is one thing, but making them behave is another. And they get tied down in guerrilla wars and whatnot. And while that's going on, Murphy is creating a new political reality in the League, and he never ever wanted to be an emperor, but in the end, he's the only one that everybody can agree to follow because he's the only one that everybody knows has been right the whole time. And he's also, pretty charismatic, kind of thing. And he also knows the Rish are coming for the Republic as soon as they get done with the League. By the time the Rish are confident that they have the League sufficiently whipped into shape that they can deal with the Republic, the war-weary, dispirited Republic, who's like, the Navy is at war and the Republic is at the mall, kind of thing. They've had a change of heart. And Murphy has drummed home the fact that all these billions of dead humans were created by Rish machinations. The new empire isn't real happy with the Rish. And the Rish are not quite prepared for what happens when they reach into that buzzsaw after they finish with the League. And, I know a lot of people really would like to see sequels to In Fury Born. And we may do that too. But one of the reasons I'm working with Richard on this is that it's kind of like with the Manticore Ascendant books. I really want them to have a different feel from the Alicia books.
Okay.
So if I do future Alicia books, they probably will be solos. And I think people will find that Richard did the first rough draft, and then I have been going through and editing. But the combination of our writing voices gives it a significantly different feel from the Fury books, but I think a good one. So it's going to be interesting to see how it finally winds up. But I've been having fun with it. It's been slower than I expected, partly because, in an odd sort of way, a collaboration is harder to edit than a solo book, because you have to be as respectful as possible of your writing partner. And the whole object in doing the collaboration is to create a different storytelling voice. And so you don't want to step on that and make it sound like it was just you from the get-go. There are people who do that very successfully, but that's not why I work with collaborators, more or less. I want it to be a fusion of our voices. And I like a lot of what Richard has done with the characterization and so forth. I've smoothed dialogue here and there and that kind of thing. But the characters in this are very much the character. Well, he and I discussed where we were going. The biggest problem has been that he didn't have a detailed timeline on the evolution of the Republic and the League. So he and I didn't realize until I started working on the draft that there were a couple of places where we hadn't clearly communicated what the background was, and therefore things were happening that were not in line with, and that those had to be adjusted. The other problem was that I had not yet really designed the tech for the naval battles, because I was going to be the one writing the naval battles. And so he couldn't do them because so he did kind of like, this is
insert space battle and move
well,
on.
he actually did the space battles with the understanding that they'd have to be redone. And the problem is that when I came in there to redo them, I was like, I know I can make this work. And I spent an awful lot of time making this work, But I think that's good. I mean, that's one of the reasons you do collaborations, is to kind of get pulled out of your own comfort zone. Like I say, it's been fun. And it will be a distinctly different flavor for the combat from anything that I've done before, which I think is kind of cool.